were. So hop into the chat, throw your wins in there. We may have a small group, and that's okay. People that are here, and we'll have, a smaller group, and we can unmute more and talk more and all that good stuff. So, but throw them in there. What? Oh, a partner upgrade today. That's
Yes,
sweet.
I did. I'm so excited
Nice.
about that. Yes.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Melissa had an enrollment today. I am definitely struggling with finding my own personal wins. I'll get there though.
I had
5 days.
a great call with an amazing downline today and got to
Yeah,
connect with her after not talking almost 2 weeks.
that's awesome. Partner who is ready to work for manager today. That's awesome. Fantastic. New partner last night, Tracy? Wow. You guys are rocking and rolling on this team. That's amazing.
Tracy's gunning to get invited to the top performers. That's what she wants.
Yeah. Do you have to do it 3 per month all the way up to the event, or is it 3 for 3 months? I was trying to remember.
It's had to be a total of 12 or more. And that still's not going to guarantee you a spot because they're going to look at other things too. But yeah.
For the top performers?
Yeah.
Top performer, executive and above get to look at top performers, and anyone that was on the leader thing, like Debbie Hanks last time, that said you're in the top 5 business categories, they get to participate for it. No one else does. And if they have the 12 partners, they'll be at the top performer. And if they don't, they won't.
Right. Yep. That is right.
No matter rank.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. That's what I thought. All right, well, we're going to jump into a core 4, kind of work this as a workshop just to get us back in the swing of things. So I'm going to show my screen just as a quick reminder, but then we also have this in our boards. So just because we're going to jump right into work mode. I don't know about anybody else, but on the heels of a weekend, sometimes if we, like me, 5 days, 4 days without cell service, I am definitely needing to get back into the game. So just as a reminder, the core 4 activities are content, authentic outreach to hot leads, people that have engaged on your value, proof, and invitation content, not necessarily your connection content, but your value content, yes. And then warm leads or this is also going to be Facebook group members. It could even be past customers. They are considered a hot lead still. So if you have dug into your reports at all, if you have customers that were old customers that you are trying to talk with, engage with, maybe you haven't communicated with them, you can do that as a authentic outreach as well. But if you're looking for, newer people, then you're going to want to really focus on those that are engaged leads from your content. And really the last 2 weeks are the best to start with. But if you need to dig further back, Melissa and I talked about today, like it could even be, let's say you did a post that had a lot of engagement and you got to talk to a few of them, but you didn't really get to do any of that follow-up. Like you want to continue that conversation. That's still a hot lead. That's still an outreach. Then there's the warm leads, which is likes and loves. They're not really commenting. They're not talking to you. And then you might even want to do some non-engaged leads. We haven't really gone into that a whole lot, but it's people that are not interacting on your content. People that you want to reach out to, they are your Facebook friends, or maybe they're in your cell phone. That is also considered an authentic outreach. And then the third type of outreach is a value-based follow-up. Somebody you've already been talking to, you kind of uncovered their problems during the authentic outreach. They've moved into a follow-up. Maybe you haven't shared pricing with them just yet. Maybe you're working towards that, or maybe you have and you're wanting to go back and re-engage those conversations. So we're going to start tonight with the first 3. We're going to start with hot leads, authentic outreach, and we're going to actually do that for 15 minutes. What we decided to do tonight for kind of an overview so you know where we're headed, we're going to do the 3 kinds of outreaches. It's going to be 15-minute chunks of each. This is exactly how a power hour with the core 4 works. You do 15 minutes of your hot leads, 15 minutes of your warm, 15 minutes of your follow-up, and then we're going to look at transformational content. And so if we're really efficient with our time tonight, just doing this as a workshop power hour type of format, we should be able to dive a little bit deeper into the transformational content and look at how can you have the balance between the 4 different kinds so that you're not spammy Pammy, you're not nicey, nice Nancy or lovey Lucy or, always, braggy Barbara, if you want to be silly about it, but that's kind of how it comes across. So we want some balance. So let's just jump in your boards. You guys should have the scripts exactly how they are in the board. But this one is for your engaged leads right here. It's your hot leads. Could be in your Facebook group as well. I know I have a couple of those today. Here's some opening messages. Then if you can, and they'll engage with you tonight, what's their problem? If you've never gotten to that, then you haven't finished this conversation. All you've done is start it. You need to get back in there and get them talking. And then getting to the point of would they like some help. You might end up sending out 15 of these and not actually get somebody to reply back to you. So go to your content. We're going to start the time. Any questions before we jump in and do this? Because I want to make sure there's clarity before I say go. And if you have a question, please just unmute. All right, and you've been working for a while, Jana. Jana, how's it going with doing these outreaches and follow-ups? How you've been doing with that?
One of the things that's helping is just looking, which I already knew. It's just a matter of like doing it, which I've been like scraping by my teeth since my mother was diagnosed with cancer in December. And anyway, but it gets me back to doing the things that I was doing. But anyway, but I really won't stay on long because I've worked all day long with the exception for 1 hour. I'm done.
Oh yeah, no, it makes sense.
But it's been good. And yeah, and I like the content about like posting different things. I don't do it at the same time, whatever, but I love that that's provided for people that do need that guidance, so yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. All right. So let's go ahead and work for 15 minutes. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to be here, but I have to do something.
Okay, and I'm going to pause the recording while we are working through these. And I will tell you too, Andra, I actually went back through my content for the last 30 days, and I have been, utilizing a lot of the different types of content. I have a couple of different things that I've put out there that I think people are really interested in. Like I offered a free canister of watermelon if they would do a post for me. I offered a lead magnet of the menus. And so I have had a lot of people, but I haven't gone back and necessarily had a lot of conversations around it or followed up with things. And when I went through it with my warm leads, I had 230 to 240 people in the last 30 days. So there's a lot of people out there. Let's say I only got
how many did you just say?
230 to 240 people.
So one thing I remember learning along the way is that sometimes when we get many big numbers, it's almost a little overwhelming. And so it's like, where do you start, right? And so try to start with your hottest leads, obviously, right? And then work from there. And if you ever get like that, where you're, in Melissa's shoes, which God, wouldn't we all love to be in that situation? Just remember it's one conversation at a time and don't get yourself overwhelmed, but definitely get them all recorded either in your success planner, or some people are using an Excel spreadsheet. Some people are just writing them down in a notebook, but those columns are there for a reason. So that's awesome though. That's exciting.
Yeah, and that's what I've done is I've just kind of gone through and done it in my notebook and kind of color coordinated it. But that's where my enrollment came from today, Andra, is that I did work through some of my very hottest leads. And so the one gal went ahead and enrolled. She didn't grab her partnership link, but we had a conversation around it, and that's important.
Hey, Melissa, will you repeat what you worked to find those? I was
So
actually
I
I
went
was
back.
actually making a post.
Well, I went back through
Was-
my 30 days, all 30 days of content. So like I went
Okay,
actually a little bit
okay,
further,
perfect,
back to June 1st. Yeah.
perfect. Okay, that's what I
And
thought
so
you said.
all, yeah, so my hot leads are the comments, my warm leads were my likes and loves. And some of them were a lot of customers, but the thing is, those are the customers that I know need me, and those are the customers I know that will be easy to convert to partners because they're engaging. And I actually did also today have I'm really excited because I had a brand new partner want to know what to post, and so I was able to give her some ideas on engagement posts and curiosity posts. And then I also had another we have another partner under Jana who put us in a group with her newest people because she's kind of like been enrolling people too that are partners, and so we've been able to guide her, and she's going to use some of those ideas to help them start their engagement posts. And that's what you want for duplication. So I'm going to pause this.
I recognize that sometimes all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't want to ignore that comment. I want to make sure I reply to that and send a message, but that's really more of a value follow-up. It's not a new lead. I'm trying to get it recording. And I have a hard time like staying in that lane and not just wanting to switch over to a value-based follow-up. Does anybody else have that same thing happen to them? Am I the only one? Melissa, you have that happen too? Because I think this is going to be a common occurrence. Debbie, do you see that happening to you? Is like you're going through
That's why I
comments?
appreciate the word tracks because it's easy for me to really get off.
What do you mean by the word tracks?
Well, just like when because you're going through the comments and you're going back and forth, and then I'm trying to go back in through a lot of mine and have some kind of conversation, but it doesn't always have to be a value, you know?
So I think what I'm asking is if we're doing authentic outreach for the first time with a hot lead that you've never talked to, and then you come across somebody who you've already talked to them, I want to go ahead and talk to them, but I'm really trying to stay in the lane of just a hot lead. Do you ever find that happening to you?
Yes.
And so do you change lanes and go work on that value follow-up, or do you stay with just the hot leads and try to really do your 15 minutes on just that?
I usually go back into Messenger and try to find the value and start the
Right.
conversation again.
So that's what I'm noticing too. And it kind of makes me wonder. I was curious if Debbie or Stacy, if you find yourselves going through having the same kind of thing happen.
I do, and I just take the time to be a human and I back off a little.
So, like for me, it's not about backing off, it's about staying in the lane of for this 15 minutes, all we are doing is hot leads with a new prospect or hot leads with someone who I've never really talked to so that I can stay with these messages
That's
and
really
not be switching over to the other kind of outreach, which is one of these up here, the
Yep.
warm leads or the follow-up conversations. And I think what I'm learning when I'm doing this with Bob Heilig and my other coach is that we really have to stay with just this person. So when I do a core 4 like workshop with them, I am expected to come with my list of people that I'm going to work on that is just for authentic outreach. And that's all you do for 15 minutes is just your new hot leads or you've got customers. Let's say I'm just going to focus on my customers, or I'm going to go through group members that commented on a post in our Facebook group. but I'm going to stick with just this authentic to outreach to hot leads. And I'm not going to dip in over to, I've already talked to them. And
That's
it
really
turns
hard
into
for me to do.
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
that's
hard for
really hard for me
anybody.
to do. And that's probably why I'm getting so distracted and bogged down and feel like I'm spinning wheels, is because I'm
Mhm.
not staying in that lane.
Yeah, me too. So like just now, and then I'm going to show you guys this thing that somebody else made for me, and I'm just trying it out. So what I noticed was I got these two done right here, Julie and Janine, and I sent them a message. But of course, when you're writing it down, you know, and you're recording what you're doing, um, that's going to take a little bit of your 15 minutes as well, but the tracking and the organizing it is going to be important. You could be just writing this down on paper, right? Or in the success planner, you could be writing it, but if you don't have the date that you've contacted them, and then what your next step is, like I wrote generally stay connected, I probably should be more specific.
Mhm.
Like, how often am I going to stay connected? So it's like maybe what I need to actually put on here is the last time we had a conversation was 6/24. Maybe I need to say 7/10 connect. So now I've got a date and I'm more specific. So when I pull my sheet up, and again, everybody's got their own way of doing this, but that next step is going to be really important because she's doing okay right now. So I don't want to lose that connection though, because she's showing up in my feed a lot. Whereas Darlene, I realized, oh, wait a minute, she and I have actually talked. So I had to go over and I had to realize that that was a value follow up. So I contacted her today, but I was like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't stay in my lane. And that's of what we're doing. And so I had to switch over to boards and use the right follow-up for her message. So it's twofold. One, it's why we use boards is one of the reason why I'm bringing it up. The messages are there so you can grab and go until you get where you just have these scripts, you know, almost verbatim. That's what they're there for, so you can get better at practicing them. But for the next 15 minutes, I think we should all really try hard to stay in just this next kind that we're going to do and not go into a value-based follow-up and actually send authentic outreach to your warm leads, to likes and loves, and stay with that script that works on the likes and the loves, which is actually kind of an easier one to do.
Page 18.
Yeah. So you can do the ACA kind of format where you say, hey, thanks for the like, love on my post today. I see you just took a trip with the family, or I saw you just did this the other day. Compliment them in some way of what all they're doing. And then ask them if you can ask a totally unrelated question. That's one way to do it. And then connect with them around the problem. That's in our boards. Or what page did you say it was?
I thought it was 18.
I may have gone too far. Yeah, that was page 18. Or I went too far. Sorry. It's going to be just a like or a love, which should be where you're just asking them, how are they? Please. Sorry, guys. Past customers. Current customers. Warm leads. Oh, I guess it's just this ACA, but there is another script. And it's in our boards, and it's just where you're just asking them how they are doing. This one is more direct. It's called an ACA framework. And I don't know if it's in our boards or not, where you acknowledge for their interaction something on social media, you compliment them to disarm them, and you ask if they have any interest in, if you have a lead magnet, you might have a menu. Your lead magnet could be your group. We did this last weekend. Your lead magnet could be like something that you're doing in your group. You might not have a lead magnet though. So then the best one is in boards, and it's under unengaged, or it's in likes and loves. It's called warm leads, likes and loves. The only thing is that all it does is help you get it started, and then you make it conversational by, I'm curious, how are you doing in this area? What made you like or love this post? Was there anything specific? But you just get them starting to talk by just saying, how have you been? So it is in boards. It's under warm leads, likes and loves. And Melissa, this is what you and I were talking about earlier. It's a little bit different than the other ones. So we're going to do 15 minutes on this and see if you can stay in this area where you're doing likes and loves, and you might find the one in the boards is better. Stacy, do you have what you need for this? Okay. Debbie, do you have what you need for this? You have boards for yourself, honey?
Yes, I do. I tried to print the other day though, and my printer was not working. So I've had to go back and forth to boards, and that's not ideal, but yeah.
Okay. I can leave this up here. What I just don't like, let me see if he's got one where it's all, he doesn't have this one where it's all like nice and compact. So for me, what it sounds like is, hey, thanks for taking the time to like or love my post today, the other day. It lets me know that people are actually paying attention. How have you been? You make it a little bit conversational, and then you get into it. You don't pussyfoot around it. And you just say, hey, I'm just curious. What are you currently doing for yourself in this area right now? Or I'm curious, what made you like or love the post? Was there anything specific? So that way you're redirecting them. And this is going to be a post that, was a singular testimonial. It could be a value and or a proof post or an invitation, but it's probably not going to be a connection post that you would do this on. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to do another 15 minutes. And we can stop recording. And Melissa, of course, jump in. I know you're doing follow-ups too, but jump in if you need to. Question for you guys. When you are seeing these likes and loves and you are sending that message over, just for clarity's sake, are you guys getting them written down some way also on your success planner or somehow tracking it? I'd love to know. Got nods. Okay. Did anybody happen to make sure that whoever you're sending a message to is invited to your testimonial group? Melissa says, oh.
No, I haven't gone back yet. Done that.
So that was like a big, like, whoa, light bulb moment for me, because I looked at these names and I was like, you know what? Some of these people I've been talking to, but they liked or loved it. So all I did was literally, I followed it because they've been kind of ghosting me, right? So I thought, you know what? I'm still just going to use the script just like it says. Because even if we had a conversation, some people, no lie, Stacy's going to freak out. One of these people I talked to in 2021 was the last message. and they are watching and liking and loving my stuff, which means that for 4 years, they never got started. They're still seeing my content. So I thought, I should go check to see if they're even in my testimonial group. So what I did is I went ahead and I invited them because we had a long conversation a long time ago. And for me, the post was a proof post. So what I did, you guys, is I recorded their name, what was the post and the date, what was the kind of engagement, and then I just went ahead and automatically invited them and sent them the message. And then in my next step, because they haven't replied back to me, my next step is to check the message tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to type in there for my next step. And I think I'm going to put the date first because you can sort, like I can sort my Excel spreadsheet by date. The other thing that I love about Excel spreadsheets is that you can just like copy paste it into the next cell down. And it's just like, oh, all these people, I'm going to go check their message. Let me show you what I mean. So this was all one person's post. So instead of me like having to write it over and over and over again, these were all the likes and loves with just one proof post. So this is kind of probably what happened to you, right, Melissa? You got like a whole bunch of listed names of everybody that you could go message, right? So I'm not done writing everybody down. I'm getting, well, no, I am done. These were all the likes and loves for that post. So I thought, well, I could copy, as soon as I sent Linda her little message from boards, I could copy and paste it and just change if they liked or loved it and hit send so I could get more done. And then when I went to go check my results group, I was reminded one of these people actually leads back to somebody else. And I'm going to keep her on my list so that I just remember not to talk to her. Because I've talked to her in the past and it was like, oh, shoot, she actually goes back to somebody else and I want to honor our group. I bring it up because groups right now have been kind of quiet. It's been a topic of conversation between a lot of leaders. And I know we're working on it in our testimonial groups as well. And inviting to the group is a great, thing, because if you invite them and you send them a message, then they're more than likely to see their invite to the group as well. You don't have to do it that way. I'm going to try it out and see what happens. But since it's a proof post and they liked it or loved it anyway, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. All of these people, except for me, Lisa and Carol, I've actually talked to in the past, but it's been years and years ago. So we'll see. How many of those kinds of messages did you guys get done? Just unmute and chat because we're a small group. 2?
I got about 6.
Okay. Debbie?
I got 4.
Okay. I got 5. So if we can get like 4, I would say, of those, try to shoot for 4. I think that's a really good number. I could tell that Melissa was doing more talking. I did copy paste, more texting. You do it however it's going to fit your, the way that you want to do it. I find, for me personally, for whatever reason, I first send text, and then when they reply, then I'll do a voice message. If they don't reply to a voice message, then I go back to text. And so other people find that have different results. You guys decide. Were you able, I'm just curious, were you able to stay more in the lane of just sending the message this time and just focusing on the like or love script? I get 2 nods. Now, isn't that interesting that and my thoughts are, because it's a like or a love, you don't really know what to talk to them about because they didn't actually make a comment. So now we're going to go do a value follow-up. It's going to be the same kind of thing, right? Value follow-up uses the AVA format. You reference the problem that they shared with you because this is somebody you've already talked to at one other time. You lead with helping and offering some form of support, and then you ask if they would want some help. So I did one already. I don't know if it's going to show up. Darlene. The last message that we had was June 17th because she did a little story response. I told her happy birthday, May 27th. I reminded her of a group challenge that we were doing back in September of 23. That's almost a year ago. And then prior to that, the last time that she actually said that there was a problem was like, I don't know. It was almost 2 years ago. I think it was in 21. So yeah, 21. So all I did today was I just followed the script exactly. Said, hey, Darlene, I've been thinking a lot about our conversation from a year ago, especially your challenges in the area of weight loss and feeling your best. I wanted to get back to you to offer some support in this area, if that's okay with you. Is this still an area you'd like some help with? I'm just going to flat out ask her, do you want some help or not? And then we'll see. Yours might be somebody you talked to a week ago, 5 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So according to Bob's flow, what you're trying to do is there's 3 different things. You can give tips or advice. You can share some personal experience to encourage them or give them hope, or you can give them a specific direction like a health assessment, which if you don't have the health assessment, you could offer the gut check, or you could offer specific direction could simply be joining your group. So you could get some encouragement, some recipes, some help along the way. This is what it looks like. Just a thank you. Can I help you? You wait for their response. Or you could go ahead and give them something that you think would help them right away. Like if they were talking about gut health or energy or not really knowing what to eat, and you know your group is doing something like that, you could say, you know, I know in our group right now, we are actually working on gut health and we've been having some recipes shared in there. Do you mind, you know, would that be something that could help you? And then you could go ahead and ask them the question right then and there. And then here's what it looks like put together. You told me the accountability has been the biggest issue with you losing weight. This is something I've helped a lot of people with in my business. Our program gives you accountability and support to finally reach your weight loss goals. How would you feel about us working together and giving the program a try? That's a very definitely direct, but there is no right or wrong way to do this, which I love that he says that. But this is basically these 1 through 4 is it right here. So before we jump into the value, you just know that you're going to be going back to some old conversations. Again, it could be a conversation from yesterday, but it's a conversation you've already started having, and you're going to offer them some support. Does anybody have any suggestions for this or questions on this? Because I know sometimes when we're newer, it's kind of like, well, what do I offer them? Debbie, do you feel like you've got some ideas of what you could do there?
Yes, sort of.
What you thinking, my friend?
I mean, I have people that I can value add with. I was just finishing up a message with a girl that turned to that, just letting her know we were going to be in her hometown. She always likes and loves all my stuff. She's seen us come and play at this church. And then she got into talking about, you know, I have this clothes closet. I've had to step away from it for a week because I've been kind of worried about my health. Well, we had talked about her health last year she came to an event. She has as recovering from a surgery. She had gastric bypass and she was really having trouble. She took digestive aids from me. Like for 2 days in a row, I gave her digestive. She said, could I have a couple more of those? Those are amazing. And she never ordered them. She said she was going to, she never did. And I said, so you mentioned your health. How is your digestive health going? You know, so it went right away to, I hope this isn't the health concern that you're working on. But so we were talking about health and I was trying to be prayerful and valuable. Like I still have this
So
thing that works
maybe,
for you.
so maybe what you could do to move that conversation along a little bit further is if she says it is gut health or, you know, that's where you stay as an example, then just to say exactly what it is.
Right.
You know, in the area of this is something I've helped a lot of people with in my business. Our program gives you support that you need to heal your digestive system, which can in turn affect your overall health. How would you feel about us working together and giving some of the products a try?
Yeah.
So you're just going like, instead of dancing around it quite as much, you're saying, you know, this is what I do. And
This is
she
what I
knows that
do.
because you've
Yeah.
already given her some stuff, but now you're
Right.
actually asking the question to be more direct. How would you feel about working together and giving some of the products a try to heal your to feel better and heal your gut? Or just say to give a try, just like he's got it. I think sometimes we like me, I overtalk.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Stacy, and so go ahead. We're going to do 15 minutes. Stacy, do you want some support with this, or do you want to just go for it and give it a try?
I'll give it a try. I have some that they're kind of ghosting me. I mean, they don't respond back or so I feel like I'm being the pest.
Right. You've done really well with following up. You've given, you've sent out the message for the group, right? What you could do is maybe prioritize the ones that talk to you the most and scroll back up to their original problems. So if you're open to public feedback, are you okay with that? If I give, okay. What I've noticed is, and it's because we all do this when we're new, we're just copying and pasting, you know, what I share with us in our team chat. But because you're starting to understand outreach, I would go scroll back up to their original problem. What did they really want help with? And, you know, say just kind of like the same thing. You told me that energy has been an issue along with losing weight. This is something that, if it's somebody that knows Chris and I have been helping with people in our business. Our program does give you support with losing weight, along with feeling better, having more energy, and really feeling like yourself again.
Okay.
How would you feel about us working together and giving a few products a try?
Okay.
You don't have to say program, you could say a few products. And just to see if you can get them back into the conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to leave this one up. Now, Melissa, you've been doing this a little bit longer than I have. Do you have any other additional suggestions for these ladies or even for me? Because I know I'm working on it too.
Well, I do think it's so important for you to kind of keep track of people. You know, that's a big thing. So I do like how on this, I've got all of my people written down and kind of color coordinated. If so, you know, if it's a like or a love and things. But I will tell you that don't get caught up in being perfect when you're doing it. Just do the action. The right people are going to respond. So just go ahead and do it. And don't worry about if they, you know, answer you or not type thing. Just keep putting yourself out there. Because they'll come when it's the right timing.
Thanks.
You want me to pause for and we'll do this for 15 minutes?
Yeah. So how did that feel in general going through 3 of the 4 steps? And sometimes it takes a little bit longer just because we're talking in between and we're kind of making meaning and trying to understand it and everything else. And I really am proud of us for being here because as a leader, it's hard. Like when you see all the people say, catching the replay, catching the replay, catching the replay, it's easy as somebody who takes the time to plan it out to be like, I want to catch the replay too. But you gotta follow through. So I'm curious, how did that feel, that last part, the value follow-up?
To me, that's the easiest one.
Yeah.
And for
I
me,
have a lot of those that have said, they've already said in the past what they need. So
Mhm.
it's just, I'm still here. But I am terrible about doing the replay. I mean, I know if I don't get on it live, it'll be 4 days before I make the time to do the replay. So I'm like, I'm not home yet. And I saw all of them coming in with, I'll catch the replay, catch the replay. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it because I know me. I won't do well with the replay because we're about to go to Robin. So I won't. So I'm glad I got to work today.
well, and that's what the hope is, right? That this is like actual workshop time but we want to get faster at it. And the hardest part is just going through them, but you got to practice. So you want to keep doing this over the next 3 days, 4 days, even on your own. For me, the value is harder because I'm trying to really be intentional with connecting back to what they originally said and find those pain points. And if you don't have good notes written down from before, it can take a little bit more time because you're having to scroll up, look to see, connect it back. So for me, just right now, I'm just being very transparent. Like the last few times I've done it, it's like, oh gosh, it's giving me some ahas of like what I need to be recording along the way so that when they move from the hot lead or the warm lead list to the follow-up list, if I can just bring over with me what their needs are, it'll be easier because I can just look at my notes and then I can know what I want to talk to them about. So that's just for me. Stacy, how'd it go for you?
Very slow. It's hard.
Was it similar to what I just described, or was it hard for a different reason?
Yeah.
Really knowing who you're talking to, huh?
Mhm.
What do you guys do? Because I can't imagine that Stacy and I are the only ones. What do you guys do to make that easier for you so that when you go in and you're doing your value follow-up, it's going well? Like, how do you keep all of that in mind so you're not having to do what I'm doing?
I do have a really good memory. So when I'm in a conversation with people, I usually remember what they've been talking to me about. I also personally think this is why it's easier to sell one kit. For example, if you're a gut collective person, selling just the gut collective, because you know what that does. And then when you're following up, and that's what they've reached out to you about, you know what to say.
Mm.
But if you're selling all the kits, it makes it harder. So,
And I'm a gut collective or an X plus person, and the one in between is the X bundle. So it does make it a little bit more challenging. Yeah.
yeah, because you have to have a little bit more conversation. But I do also think you have to get better, or you have to be a little more confident in the recommendation initially. And if you get to that point in the first conversation and they still don't buy, sometimes you have to go back as part of the value and say, I know we were talking about XYZ. Now, I recommended that, but I really think since you didn't get it yet, is there other questions I can answer, or maybe B is going to be a better option.
Mhm. Okay. So what we wanted to do, but it's 7:30. So this is Melissa, your decision. I can show it, but what we were going to do was look at the content in order, like what Jana, had said, Jana had said was, or Jana, I get them confused. Having the content to look at, gives her ideas of what to do. And I know several people, even if you're watching the recording, did not complete the 14-day content challenge. You know, maybe other posts were made in the middle, right? Like a lifestyle post with your family or something like that. Totally get it. But we should really be done with the 14-day content challenge by now. And you could rinse and repeat. The only thing is in the content challenge, he doesn't do a lot of proof posts in there at all, really. He doesn't really show how to do them or talk about them at all. He does a little tiny bit of invitation. It's mostly value and connection. And the reason why that is because 60 to 70% of your content should be value or connection. However, if you don't have any proof or invitation, then people really don't know what you have to offer. And it's doing it in such a way that isn't weird and salesy, but you're celebrating somebody, or you're sharing what you did to help someone, or you're sharing somebody's story and what they did along the way to hit their goals. And we get a lot of those in our testimonial groups where we can kind of sort of copy paste them, but we would want to tweak them a little bit so there's a little bit more authentic feel to those posts, and not quite so she did it, she lost 50 pounds, so what kind of thing. There's a little bit more to it than that. And then the invitation posts need to be invitation to your business, and invitation to, having a conversation, invitation to dropping me in the comments because you understand or can relate to those pain points, or you're looking for this benefit. He doesn't have a ton of those in the 14-day content. And you do need to be putting them out there on your, public post, but it's not, if in a week and you only do one post a day, you would have maybe one post a week would be a proof post. One post a week would be an invitation post, according to his percentages. And then Melissa's saying, I feel like a lot of proof posts happen when you invite them to the testimonial group. And I would agree. They have to know they've been invited to that testimonial group, which means you have to send them a message to let them know that you invited them to the group to check it out because of the conversation that you've been having. And the proof really comes more in the conversation. So if you haven't given a lot of proof in your conversations with people, that might be the missing component. If you're new, like if they haven't seen a lot of testimonials, that could be happening in messages too. Debbie, do you feel like you finished the 14-day content, or do you feel like you're kind of still working through it? Okay.
No, I'm all over the map on the 14-day content. I could easily jump day one, start again.
Gotcha. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that are saying that.
Yeah, because we were traveling and we were sharing a lot of life. So
Right. Last weekend or last week, I shared something that I discovered in Canva. You can kind of do the same thing in ChatGPT. This was kind of interesting to me. I told Canva exactly who my ideal person is. Exactly. And I went over to create a document, and I used what's called this it's called Magic Rate. When you click on it on the document, you get this idea of magic, right? Just like ChatGPT. This is Canva. It's an app, Stacy. It's actually you can just get in and start playing around with it. But you can type in here, describe what you want them to write. And I literally described like a whole entire paragraph. This is my ideal person. They're over 40, blah, 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 blah. And what I asked them to do was write out a content plan with 2 posts and a reel and I wanted a value, connection, proof, and invite post. I don't know that it's perfectly like exactly what, Bob Heilig would say it is, but what it did in the end, Debbie, is it gave me a framework of the content of what I could do. And it also gave me ideas of what I could do in my group, even if I didn't do it on my own wall. Like sharing an infographic on the benefits of natural weight loss methods. I don't think infographics are going to go very well on my personal wall, but they would go really well in my group because, we could be talking about, and it says natural weight loss methods. So maybe I would put like all natural resource or all naturally sourced, ingredients or something. But I did appreciate that it gave me a framework. It gave me a flow. Like a connection post would be personal story about overcoming my weight loss challenges. Again, I don't personally think Bob would say that that's a connection post. I think he's going to say that's more of a proof post. So it's not perfect by any means, but it did give a guide and it made 30 days worth of content. And I could start seeing how I could use this as a calendar for myself for my ideal person. And I struggle with reels specifically. So like this one demonstration of a simple at-home workout. But there's also a reel as a quick tip for maintaining gut health, a quick meal prep tip. Because I said my ideal person is busy, they're on the go, they're career minded, they don't have a lot of time. So you've got lots of things in here of like quick and effective morning stretches, easy to make health snack, value post, natural ways to boost energy levels. That is a value post. Explain the link between gut health and weight loss. That's a value post. Connection post might be share a book recommendation on natural health. Again, I don't know if that's really what I would consider a connection post, but it gave a good idea. It gave a nice little framework. You could change it if you don't have to do it exactly. But I did appreciate the guidance and the support. The other idea is that if you haven't finished the core 4 is to actually do it the way it is intended and to, leverage the fact that we're in this kind of funky July. And instead of, like you said, being kind of all over the place, then go ahead and actually do the 14-day challenge and get back in it and stick with it. I know for myself, I do it the night before. And it helps me to be focused the next day and not be as scattered. And I'm also trying to do 2 posts a day because that's the other thing. That algorithm is still true today. Like if you only post 1 time a day, only 1% of your audience is seeing your posts, but in your group, 5% of your group audience is seeing your posts. So groups, if you're not posting in your group, you're really missing a window of opportunity to get your ideal, your prospects to see your posts. Like and then if you're consistent with it, I know it goes from like 5%, I don't know, maybe to 10%. So I don't know how everybody's feeling about posting in your groups, but it's something that I think we're all kind of talking about right now. So that was what we were going to do, is we were going to look at content next, but it's 7:45. So I think next week we can get faster at the core 4
Yeah.
get it done in like 45 minutes and then do some content.
I think that'll be good. And I think this will give a chance to go back through. Like I know with me personally, I did not finish every post from the 14-day challenge, because I did shout outs in between for the end of the month and then holiday posts, things like that. So I think it'd be good. And a lot of these you can do a rinse and repeat because it says, sharing a failure that you've overcome or things. And there's so many different things that happen just within a short window of time sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking that 14-day and just doing it again and again with different, slightly different content and using that as a guide until you get more comfortable, with what you're doing. So, all right. I don't think we really have anything else, right, Melissa? That was kind of it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Thanks, Debbie, for hanging in there with us. Thanks, Stacy.
Mhm.
Thank y'all.